You are trying to think strategically, like what's the best move?
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah.
How do you decide who gets to write on the piece of paper?
Did I write?
I think you might have.
Because it would have been my. I think I was like, you were like, it's your first time.
Again,
to
exactly.
It.
I just sort of played how it had been played to me. I was like, go on, Freddie. I think you just take it in turns. It's a quill, so it kind of doesn't allow for your best handwriting. It's a bit like scratchy.
I was just gonna say my handwriting is awful, so they'd be like,
Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about how the traitors have been doing their murdering. So Alan, Kat, and Jonathan. We've already heard that you were almost a bit angry that Jonathan got so far. Because presumably you were like, he is not flying under the radar. How is he getting away with this?
Yeah, it was it was actually crazy to watch. It's just more the fact that it was like each episode someone would bring it up, and then no one would vote for him. And I'd be like...
He defended himself really well.
He did defend himself quite well, but it was after when Ruth Codd got murdered, and she was like, everyone was like, "Oh no, it can't be that. It's too obvious to be a double bluff." I'd be like, "He's the most obvious man on the planet."
Yeah.
But it is hard when you're in there because everyone said the same about Linda. Like, how can you not see it's Linda? But like, I couldn't see it at all.
But in this situation, I think going back to what we were saying about celebrities and how like Jonathan Ross is one of the most well-connected celebrities in the castle. I think he'd like almost had interviewed all of them at some point. I feel like they maybe didn't vote for him. They didn't have the courage of their convictions until it really gathered momentum.
Or he might be saying something behind the scenes. You're not coming on my talk show if you vote me out.
Well, maybe that's that element of like, I want to like protect my career. I don't know.
I definitely think they were all being a bit polite, like you said earlier. But Kat's played a blinder.
Kat has been amazing. I think she's also been very clever to avoid murdering in plain sight every single time.
She's just been like, it's not...
She's literally delegated that job to Alan every time.
She's like, do you know what you're really good at? Doing it in person. You should do this. This is your skill set. You're great at this. You should do this. And I think that's been really clever because I think it would have been obvious if she'd done that.
because I think she's quite awkward and quiet anyway, so she'd probably struggle to like do any of it.
She wouldn't have been able to do the whole face touch for Paloma. But also, to give her credit, I don't know if you guys picked up on this, she suggested to Alan how to do the toast.
Yeah.
Did you see in the kitchen? She was like, oh, just say it's like a quote Stephen told you. Or something. So
she did think on her feet.
She did sort of think about
that.
and Alan delivered it perfectly. But I like that she kind of was like, this is how you should do it, maybe, kind of thing, giving him an idea.
Would you like to have killed in plain sight, or is that too much of a daunting prospect?
I couldn't even lie to save my life anyway. So the thought of doing that in real life, I would have hated it.
Oh my God.
I would have just been like, I'm not doing it. There's no murder tonight. Like, it's not happening.
Yeah, can you imagine? I just
I would have been like, no, I'm not doing it.
Freddie, why did you sign up for a show that involves you lying?
It's really funny because at the start, like when you go through the interview process, I was like, I'm going to be a traitor. Like, I'm so good at this. I'm great. And then me and my mum, I was like, Mum, tap me on the shoulder. I'll close my eyes. Let's pretend you're Claudia. Every single time I did it, I was just burst out laughing and was like sweating. I was like, okay, you're going to need to be a faithful in this situation. And then...
So did you ask Claudia to be a faithful when you were having your chat with her at the beginning?
No, last minute I said traitor. And in my head, I was like, why have you just said that? What is wrong with you? And then when I didn't get tapped, I was like, I can breathe. Oh my God. And then when I did finally become one, I was like, oh my God.
That's so funny because I would absolutely have loved to do a murder in plain sight. Like, I'm actually kind of gutted I didn't get to do one. Like,
but you did get to do the seer, which was an incredible
I wouldn't
twist.
call that fun.
Traumatizing.
But yes, it was, a new thing. So
amazing. Why do you think the Faithfuls had such a bad run?
Yeah, it's interesting.
There's not a lot of individual thinking, like, at all. They kind of just wait for someone to say a name, which is what sometimes that does happen in the Traitors. But like, I remember I was watching Kate Garrett was like, I've got no clue. And I was like, you've been here for like 8 days. How have you got not one bit of evidence? And she's so sweet. She's so sweet. But I was like, anything, even if it's wrong, just say a name or something.
I honestly don't know. I think a big thing here is that the 3 traitors from the beginning worked together. Like, they really did work together. And actually, if you think about 3 people, I mean, I know they started with like 19, or there's a lot of people, but 3 people is a lot to kind of sway narratives lightly and keep, I do think that's helped. Like, no one went early. They didn't get lucky. They didn't get anyone early. And then, I think maybe that's how the Faithfuls kept failing me.
How has David been so useless also, though? Because he's a very clever man.
I know.
What's happened with David?
I don't know. He's just all of his theories that he's doing is wrong. But I understand it. It's a very overwhelming experience to be a part of. Like, you can think something's really like suspicious when actually it's not. Like, we're watching Joe Marler be bang on the money.
Yeah.
But he's seeing that as Joe Marler creating a narrative. But like, that's just his perspective. Obviously, we've got the audience perspective, knowing it's
That's the
Joe
you've got to
Marler's
remember,
right.
they don't know. Like, Joe is sitting there saying, I know it's Kat, I know it's Alan, but he doesn't know. That's the thing. For us as the audience, we're like, yes, Joe, come on. But he doesn't actually have proof. So David can listen to that and be like, no, that sounds pretty
you're full of rubbish,
suspicious.
yeah.
Don't forget though, so David is actually like the luckiest player ever, because him and Mark came down to that, 50-50
thing.
situation.
Chest of chance.
And they just went
The
straight
chest
under.
of chance, absolutely. The technical term. But yeah, he's still in it. He lived through that and he's got to the final five.
But that's what's so strange about the traitors. Like, you can be up on the round table. Like, I remember I think it was like episode 4 or 5. I was like,
Yeah.
everyone, it's me. And then I didn't go. And then the next like few episodes, no one said my name. And I was like,
I know, you're like,
how
where's
we got
this,
from A to B?
where's this momentum
I was
gone?
like, I know it's going to come back. I'm just waiting for it to come back.
And to be fair to David, he made that exact point. Like, at the table, I think he sort of said, he was like, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm a faithful. Like, why would I can't remember the scenario, but he's made some very like eloquent points. But I think the problem is he's now in the middle, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's got, you've got two traitors on one side, Kat and Alan. You've got two kind of allied faithfuls of Nick and Joe. And basically it is a question
like,
of like
he's a swing vote.
who can sway David. Yeah. So that's why it's quite exciting.
Yeah. But I think the issue might be that I think Kat is the only girl left. And because they have no like girl
if they
trait-
use their logical brains, you could probably
assume that
ascertain.
there'd be a girl there, but
Yeah.
you don't know how they.
But then
play
again,
it.
in our series,
There
obviously there were
was all
3 girls, and then
one boy.
until
But until the end.
But it kind of worked. It worked in the girls' favor when people started thinking, "Oh, there must be a boy."
Yeah,
So
no,
you
it did.
can
I remember
never
me,
say
Jake, and
never.
Alexander at each other's throat going, well, it's one of us. It can't possibly
Yeah,
be
and that was actually
girls.
really helpful, for us being like, well, it's actually all girls, that kind of thing. So
What would you guys do now at this point of their game?
As a traitor or a faithful?
Which
one?
Whichever you prefer.
you do one, I'll do the other.
Well, you do the traitor, I'll do the faithful. This probably makes sense.
Oh God, I mean, I don't know now.
I would say, as the faithfuls, Joe just needs to keep being persistent with his theories. He needs to not like sway or get swayed by Kat or Alan, which is easier said than done. They both need to get David on side. And it's the same for the traitors, to be fair. You're just fine for this one man. But then it just to see how it goes, really.
Yeah. I think that Alan and Kat, they need to get on to David, but also potentially try and sow some doubt, because I feel like Nick and Joe are wedded, but I feel like Nick could be swayed.
Yeah.
Or
they could even say maybe something like, Joe and Nick are so wedded to David that they're not gonna finish the game if you, David, but we will, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So then they could probably do that.
Oh, clever.
I just don't know if Alan will survive that I'm a faithful laughing situation.
The other thing, though, there haven't been that many clues in this series, but when Joe Marler said to Alan, well, you're not going to get murdered tonight, are
You've got a
you?
shield.
And then Alan was like, oh, yeah,
Alan
I
was
forgot.
like, why?
But that's what I mean. Joe has evidence on Alan, like proper evidence.
Alan is the only person that can get away with a fumble like that
I
because
know.
it's his character. He's so like funny, forgetful, all that sort of
Yeah.
rubbish. So he's great in that sort of aspect. Whereas anyone else, you'd vote them off.
And
straight
don't
away.
forget, whoever gets banished, because there's going to be, like in our series, there's going to be one more banishment, and then they'll go to presumably a fire pit or end game somewhere. And the person that gets banished now won't reveal. So even if it is Alan or Kat,
They won't know.
they won't know. And obviously if it's David, Joe or Nick, again, they won't know.
yeah.
So they're not going to have that certainty that they've got a traitor. So they're going to go into that final 4 people and still not know. So they're going to be, I think it's going to go down to 2. Whoever it is, they've got to keep voting. A bit like with Leanne and Jake, you can't risk having more people.
Yeah, defo.
I feel nervous even thinking about it now.
I know.
It's going to be tense.
Which other celebs would you like to see in there? Should they do a series?
Oh my gosh. That is, I mean, there is,
Alison Hammond, for sure.
I don't even know. I feel like I'm trying to like benchmark where I'm trying to think like what's the Stephen Fry equivalent for the next series? What's
David Attenborough, maybe.
David
Yeah.
Attenborough. Yeah, I mean, yes.
Yeah, he would be great.
Yes.
Amazing.
Probably not much use for the tasks, but
Yeah, but it's fine. He's just there for
Maybe
icon.
I'd like to see sort of one of Kirsty and Phil. You know,
Oh,
it'd be quite a nice
interesting.
little.
Who is Kirsty Emperor?
They do property shows.
Location.
quite fun.
Kirsty would be
Kirsty
got me in there,
Yeah,
actually.
Kirsty
That's a
would
good
be
call.
lovely, yeah.
Freddie making us all feel really old.